Welcome to the British Columbia Community Football Association Spring Flag Football Referees Presentation. I'm Doug Pauls, Spring Flag Football Coordinator, and I'm looking forward to spending the next 45 minutes with you as we go through how to be an official for BCCFA flag football. BCCFA is thankful to Football British Columbia, Football Canada, and NFL Rush for their sponsorship and development of our Spring Flag Football program. The exciting part about BCCFA football is the exciting growth that we've seen. Starting back in 2008 with 231 individuals being involved, and as you can see, there's been steady increases in the number of participants. Last year, 881 individuals were involved in the sport at the provincial level, and in 2014 you can see that we're over 1,500 young men and women involved in the sport, and it shows the excitement and enthusiasm that the sport is generating in BC. The exciting part about 5-on-5 Spring Flag football is that it's a very simple game where all young individuals can participate. It's a game that emphasizes passing, catching, and running in a non-contact environment. All players are eligible to possess the ball. Simple rules: the player receiving the snap is the quarterback, and he cannot advance the ball by running, and there's no kicking present in the game. The other part of Spring Flag football is the field of play is relatively compact. We're using a 25 to 30 yard width with a 65 to 85 yard length, and typically we'll line it up widthwise on a field. In a high school environment or in a soccer pitch environment, we can line 4 fields up with a 10-yard gap down the middle of the field, having 4 games run simultaneously with a lot of action on play. Some of the features I just want to point out to you is that it's usually around a 40-yard width in terms of goal line to goal line, with a 10-yard end zone, variation on that 7 to 10 yards depending on the surface that you're able to use. And the other feature is the 5-yard no-run zone, which is 5 yards from the goal line. I will go into detail further in the presentation around what each of those aspects of play represent, but I just want to give you a quick overview on that. Involved in the simplicity of the game, there's also the nuances that enhance passing, running, catching, skill development. So passing, the quarterback has 7 seconds to throw the ball. The ball must cross the line of scrimmage. Receiving, the receiver must have at least 1 foot in bounds, and that's consistent with fall tackle football. Jumping is allowed, but only to adjust to high throws, and that's in place to ensure contact is minimized between players and risk of injury is minimized. Running, the quarterback cannot run with the football, and this is to emphasize the passing game and helping young players develop their passing catching abilities. No run zone, I talked about that in the previous slide, and that's the area 5 yards before the end zone, and that's to ensure that teams are emphasizing throwing for scoring close to the goal line. Spinning is allowed, but the offensive player must have 1 foot on ground, and this is again emphasizing non-contact and safe environment for the players to play in. No diving, and there are no fumbles. Whenever ball security is lost, the ball is simply spotted where the last point of possession occurred. Rushing the quarterback. A player may rush from behind the 7-yard marker and within 2 yards of either side, and this player has an unobstructed pathway to the quarterback. The rusher cannot raise his hands or block a pass within 2 yards of the quarterback, and that's to allow the quarterback to have a safe throwing motion without worry of injury. And again, I'll get into further details around that later in the presentation. Teams out of British Columbia have done well at the national level. In this photo, in 2011, the team in red is the national U16 gold champion. National players have the opportunity to interact with other players of their same age at a national level, and here's the group enjoying the amenities of beautiful Halifax. Flag football has the ability to impact player development. Here's a picture of Justin Sanvito, who turned this into a scholarship and is now a 2-year starter at the University of Western Ontario. Other players that developed is Liam Mahara, seen here playing in Halifax, and Rookie of the Year at UBC, Offense 2013. And as part of the athlete's long-term athletic development, 10,000 hours being required to become a professional in any given activity, spring flag football plays an integral role in athletic development. I've seen that personally with my own son Andrew, who's used spring flag football to roll forward into a scholarship at Simon Fraser University and enable him to be Rookie of the Year in 2013 at that school. The thrill of spring flag football is the challenge that athletes place on each other. And here you can see the Quebec athlete showing tremendous athleticism as he carries the ball and the challenge that he presents to our BC athletes. It's exciting to be part of this sport. And now we're getting the nuts and bolts of officiating 5-on-5 flag football as we're going to work through the Canadian rule book. Approximately 65 pages. Promise we're not going to go through every single one, but that's our challenge for the next 45 minutes. We're going to look at a number of slides, and I'm going to only highlight the yellow and red parts of it. The other are there for your own personal information, so if you need to pause the video and take a look at it at the nuances of each section, that's great. But I just want to make sure we're emphasizing the fact that the official is responsible for the adherence of rules and regulations by both teams and all officials. And a couple of just bookkeeping or housekeeping rules. Just make sure that you're there 3 minutes before the start of each game to get things rolling. And within BCCFA play, like to use rock, paper, scissors to determine who's going to start the initial possession. All right, let's jump into general play. 2.1. The offensive team takes possession of the ball on its 5-yard line and has 3 plays to cross midfield. When a team crosses midfield, it has 3 plays to score a touchdown. If the offense fails to score, the ball changes possession and the new offensive team takes over on its 5-yard line. 2.2. The ball must be snapped by the offensive center. 1 yard is required between the offensive and defensive players. And this is to ensure that flag football is played in a non-contact environment. There is no press coverage in 5-on-5 flag football. 2.3. An automatic first down by penalty will overrule the other requirements regarding 3 plays to make either a first down or score. 2.5. All possession changes except interceptions start on the offensive 5-yard line. 2.6. If an offensive penalty past midfield occurs, which takes the next down behind the midfield marker, the offensive team must still make a touchdown in 3 plays. I'll cover that off in a little more detail further in the presentation. 2.7. No running zones are located 5 yards in front of each end zone. When offense starts a play within the 5-yard no run zone, the ball carrier cannot run across the line of scrimmage. It must be a pass play. Nuance. A defensive penalty which moves the ball into the no run zone, the offensive team has the option to take half the distance to the goal line or set the ball on the 6-yard line, enabling them to still have the run-pass option in terms of score. And this is a BC interpretation. 2.8. The quarterback cannot run with the ball past the line of scrimmage unless the ball has been handed off, tossed, or pitched to another player and then returned. I'll show you in a video clip how this works. Here's a video clip with Quebec, and the quarterback's exchanging the ball with the running back, and the running back then throws it back to the quarterback, who now throws again. And just a demonstration of one option that the quarterback can have. Let's skip to 2.10. An offense may use multiple handoffs behind the line of scrimmage. Only backwards or lateral handoffs are allowed during the down. The person initiating the exchange must exchange the ball behind their hips to the receiving player. 2.11. Forward pass. Ball must be on or thrown from behind the line of scrimmage to be legal, similar to fall tackle football. So let's go back to the first clip where we saw Team Quebec have multiple exchanges behind the line of scrimmage, and we'll run it. And what we want to look at is you want to see the first exchange where the quarterback hands behind his hips to the running back. The running back then pauses, he stops, and he makes a throwback to the quarterback, again behind his hips, live ball. Then the quarterback receives it and he has the ability to run past, and in this situation he passes the ball behind the line of scrimmage, legal forward pass. In this clip, BC is playing Quebec and the quarterback receives the ball. Under tremendous duress from the Quebec rusher, he avoids it, steps forward, but still maintains his position behind the line of scrimmage for a legal forward pass, Rule 2.11, and completes it for a nice BC first down. In this cut up, you're going to see a double pass. You're going to see the quarterback, the BC quarterback, under center, and he's going to take the receiver to our left, is going to take a step back, receive the ball, and then immediately throw the ball downfield, and BC again has a nice score. All right, let's talk about scoring touchdowns. A touchdown is scored when the player has possession of the ball, but the difference between flag and tackle is it's not when the ball crosses the goal line, but it's when the player's hips cross the goal line that it physically becomes a touchdown. The other little nuance with that is if the player is in the end zone and he catches the ball and the ball is outside of the end zone, it's still a touchdown because possession has been made and the player is in the end zone, also a touchdown. So let's take a look at two examples of touchdowns. In this clip, Team BC is playing Manitoba, and you're going to see an exchange, and then Justin Sanvito, as he gets the ball, he's going to run for a scoring touchdown. And in the next one, we're going to see a passing touchdown, and here we have Quebec versus BC again. Justin makes a nice pass out to Liam, and he scores a nice long BC touchdown, passing touchdown. Let's cover off Rule 6, live ball, dead ball. Similar to tackle football, live ball is the referee's blown the ball into play, ball has been snapped. Live ball, free ball is when possession of the ball is unknown and the ball is still live, but the ball is up in the air. Dead ball is the whistle has blown or the ball has touched the ground. 1.5, there are no fumbles. This is key to ensure that safety happens. We don't have people diving and dog piles for the possession of the ball. The ball is spotted at the last point that control of the ball occurred. I want to talk about inadvertent whistles, 1.7. When the whistle is blown inadvertently by an official, the play shall stand unless the referee decides that the whistle affects the result of the play. And 1.8, if the referee cannot decide which team is adversely affected, the play shall be repeated. This is something that you're going to want to talk with your fellow official about, or if you have the luxury of having a senior site commissioner on board, that you have a chance to interact with him. We'll talk a little further about this in the presentation, but this is an event that can create significant negativity amongst coaches if you aren't paying attention and you're just blowing the whistle at random. In the next two clips, we're going to look at fumbles. In this clip, Team Nova Scotia, the quarterback will receive the ball and he'll attempt to hand off to the running back. The ball hits the ground. The ball is spotted where the quarterback last had possession. In this situation, 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, next down, and loss of 3 yards. In this video clip, we're going to see Team Saskatchewan, and the center will snap the ball over the quarterback's head. The last possession was where the center had the ball. Therefore, the ball is set at the line of scrimmage, next down. Touching base, inbounds, out of bounds, just to make sure that we all understand this. Inbounds is the area around the perimeter of the field. Out of bounds is obviously the area outside of it. Big issue with that is for the player to be inbounds, you need to see grass between the player's foot and the white line. If any part of the player's body is on the white line, he is out of bounds. We're on to Rule 8, control and possession of the ball. Control of the ball. The ball needs to have a firm grip, one hand or both, and not spinning. And the player then needs to make an athletic move with the ball to demonstrate control. Possession of the ball is same criteria, and this is where we're going to determine scoring or first down, and dead ball, and you can take a look at the list in terms of all the criteria for dead ball. In this clip, we're going to see BC versus Northwest Territory. Justin throws the ball up. Liam jumps up in the air, tips the ball. Ball is live. He then catches the ball with his other hand, gains possession of the ball. He controls the ball and is in the end zone. Touchdown, British Columbia. Rule 9, the huddle. Offensive teams must hold a huddle before exchange of field or exchange of possession. 2.1.2, team on offense has 30 seconds to put the ball in play. This is a real key rule for officials. It's very easy for a coach to stretch play out, and it's up to you to have that mental clock going on in your head. So at 20 seconds, you start initiating, coach, 9, 8, 7, 6. Count it down so that everyone knows, otherwise the game gets extended and it's about kids getting reps playing football. All right, let's move on to the passing game. Rule 15, the passing game. Okay, let's go over this one more time. 1.2, once the ball is handed off or tossed, or a fake handoff or toss, with a teammate in position to accept the ball, this is no longer in effect. And this is also going to be covered off back in Rule 10.1.8. You want to pause and just take a look at the other rules on your own as far as passing so that you've completely familiarized with quarterback play. All right, let's talk about catching the football. Rule 11, receiving, 1.1. All players are eligible to receive passes. The exciting part about flag football, that includes the centers or your linemen that are come over and helping you. They get a chance to catch the ball and talk about scoring for grandma and grandpa, mom and dad. 1.3, any number of players can be in motion when the ball is snapped. And this is the nuance for Canadian emphasis in spring flag football. In this clip, we're going to see BC against Northwest Territories. Nice little catch, touchdown, example of a great reception. In this clip, we're going to see Saskatchewan throwing the ball, and we'll see the receiver jump, makes a nice catch, comes down, safe catch, and that's an example of an appropriate jump catch. In this clip, we're going to see an example of a legal vertical jump, BC versus Quebec, and we're going to see Liam go up in the air vertically, staying within the cylinder of his body. He's not moving laterally right or left, going up and catching the ball. Now, if Liam had moved laterally and initiated contact with the opposing player, then even though he caught the ball, it would be ruled an illegal reception, roughing offense. In this clip, we're going to see an example of illegal flags. The receiver at the start of the ball has flags on both of his hips. As we move forward, though, you're going to see one of the flags drop. You can look at the slow motion part here, and the flag is going to hit the ground. Reception is made. Now the player becomes a touch only. The reception is legal. However, the D player now only has to make contact with any part of the offensive player's body for play to be ruled dead. And we can see the opponent player touch and the referee come in marking the play dead where the contact had been made. Rushing. Let's now talk about running with the football. Rule 10, the running game. Again, this is one that you're going to want to take some time and read through the whole list. I just want to highlight a few of them. 1.1, the center is the person who gives the ball to the quarterback. 2, the center must be in a position facing the defense. You need to snap the ball between your legs. 1.3, the line of scrimmage and point of the line of scrimmage are determined by the officials according to the dead ball rules. 1.4, the quarterback is a player who receives the ball. And then let's skip down to 1.6, player who takes the handoff, toss, or pitch can throw the ball from behind the line of scrimmage. We see multiple examples of that. And then I want to move to 1.8. And this is coming back to the 7-second rule and and who's eligible to rush, which we'll cover off later. But the little nuance with this one is that all defensive players are eligible to rush the ball once there has been a handoff, toss, or there has been play action fake or a fake handoff. So a player lined up at the line of scrimmage when an exchange has been made or attempted to be made is able to rush immediately. They do not have to be behind the 7-yard beanbag marker. And it's up to the ball carrier to avoid contact with the defender. This is an extremely important rule to understand, that the defensive player, if he has possession, it's up to the offense to avoid contact. You can't run through a D player the way you would in tackle football. He must stop at feet and trying to go around the D player. Okay, here we have a clip of a run. You can see Justin receives the ball and then advances the ball via a run. Want to talk about spinning. In this video clip, you're going to see the offensive player receive the handoff, and then he's going to spin to avoid having his flag pull. Great play, and then advancing. So here we go, we're watching. Catches the ball, moves forward, spins, carries on, gets another 3 yards after he makes his spin play. And we want to talk about running, a player and body position. In this clip, you're going to see the player receive the ball. He's going to put his hand down, not his hip, knee, other body part, and so he's able to advance the ball and gets another 5 yards after his hand goes down. Let's talk about defense. Rule 12, rushing the quarterback. 1.1, all players who rush the quarterback must be 7 yards off the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. Any number of players may rush the quarterback, Players not rushing the quarterback may defend on the line of scrimmage. The rusher must rush continuously. Once the ball is handed off or tossed, or a fake handoff, the 7-yard rule no longer is in effect and all defenders may go behind the line of scrimmage. The nuance with this is that the defender that's at the line of scrimmage, once a fake or an exchange has occurred, can now immediately rush the quarterback. 1.2. Remember, blocking and tackling are not allowed. 1.3. This pertains to obstructed and unobstructed pathway to the quarterback. A rusher that's lined up within 2 yards of the beanbag, 1 yard on either side, has an unobstructed pathway to the quarterback. It's up to the center or any offensive player to move out of his path as he moves towards the quarterback. A rusher may line up outside of the 2-yard cylinder and rush the quarterback, but his pathway can be obstructed. In this video clip, we're going to see the Quebec rusher, who's a quick little boy that we featured at the beginning of our presentation, sacking the BC quarterback. You can see he takes a nice quick rush, unobstructed, pulls the flag, sack, Quebec. All right, now it's time to turn to officiating. This is the part where you need to pay extra attention because it's going to be you in a few days. A good official applies rules intelligently. The spirit of sports is enhanced greatly when officials apply rules intelligently and consistently. Great integrity. A skilled official only wants one thing, that the game might go on normally without any distortion caused by bias or inconsistencies. Be a source of trust, not distrust. Sound human relationships. Relationships with other officials, relationship with players, relationship with coaches, relationships with fans. Officials' responsibility to the player. Look to avoid injury. Player safety is first. Work to encourage respect and sportsmanlike conduct on the field. Accept that questions will be asked on rules. Sports were created for athletes, not for officials. Don't be the center of attention. These are the 12 qualities that you want to strive for to be a good official. Speed of reaction, self-confident, consistency, judgment, promptness, precise knowledge of rules, spirit of decision, courage, objectivity, good relationships, task and mechanics, conditioning and appearance. Just want to touch on this a little bit. That makes sure that you're wearing a clean uniform, you have proper footwear, not flip-flops, you have your whistle, you have your flags, you're prepared to conduct yourself appropriately. All right, let's move back and talk about the basics of 5-on-5 spring flag football. In your package, you should have received the BC Community Officials cheat sheet. Up in the corner, we've got the summary of the basic rules and then a summary of infractions that you'll want to be aware of. You can find this information at bccommunityfootball.ca. All right, basic 5-on-5 flag football rules. Passing. The QB has 7 seconds to throw the ball, but if there has been a handoff or a fake handoff exchange, then the 7-second rule is eliminated. 4 passes must cross the line of scrimmage. Receiving, the player must have at least 1 foot in bounds, and jumping is allowed, but only to adjust to high throws. Running. The quarterback cannot run with the football, and the no-run zone is the area located 5 yards outside the goal line. Pass only in this territory. Spinning is allowed, but the offensive player must have 1 foot remaining on the ground at all times, no diving, and there are no fumbles. The ball is placed at the last point of possession. Rushing the quarterback. A player may rush from behind the 7-yard barrier and within 2 yards left and right. He has the unobstructed path to the quarterback, or if he is outside of that, he can rush, but he has an obstructed path. The rusher must not raise his hands or block a pass within 2 yards of the safety zone of the quarterback. This is to ensure that the quarterback will not risk injury on throwing. If the rusher is lined up outside, and I just covered this off, outside the 2-yard area, he has the unobstructed pathway to the quarterback. Scoring, obtaining points. A touchdown, 6 points, just as fall tackle football. Extra point. Offensive team has 2 options, single or 2 points. 1 point, extra point, the ball is placed on the 5-yard line and the ball must be advanced via a pass. A 2-point convert, the ball is placed on the 12-yard line, and the offensive team can either run or pass the ball to convert the convert. Safety, 2 points. A safety occurs when the offensive player is in his own end zone and has his flag pulled. The defensive player then gains possession of the ball on their own 5-yard line. During a convert, if the ball and the defensive player returns the ball to his own goal line, it's a 2-point safety and possession. It's a 1-point convert. BC has the ball on their own on the 5-yard line, throws, catch, 1-point convert. And in this, a defensive touchdown. BC has the ball, throws it up, intercepted, return, defense. And in this clip, we're going to the end zone. His flag is pulled, safety. What our equipment? You have your whistle, flag, beanbags. I'd recommend multiple line of scrimmage, and one is a 7-yard rush. Pen and paper to track score of game. It's easy to lose track of if a convert had been scored, if it's a tie, who's leading. Important that you keep track of that. And good, clean uniform, make sure that you're looking the part.
Okay, you say stop.
Tapes rolling. 2, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Officials' equipment. Every game you want to make sure that you have your whistle. Flag guarding. The proper way to run with the football is high and tight. This is the way I suggest the young men to run with a football. The way commonly athletes will run with a ball is in the running motion in this fashion. This is all right. However, if the defender comes to reach for the flag and any part of the hand or ball makes contact with the defender's hand, flag guarding. Blow the whistle, ball's marked dead there, back 5 yards, next down. Or ball on the other side, using the hand in the Heisman type approach to defend the flag. Similar situation. Blow the whistle, infraction, at the point of infraction, spot the ball, 5 yards back, next down. Now let's take a look at a game situation flag guard. In this clip, the Northwest Territory quarterback will receive the ball, and as he's being rushed, he'll use the ball to defend his flag from the BC defender. You can see the official makes a nice call, throws the flag, infraction, Northwest Territories. In this video clip from the 2010 National Championship game between BC and Ontario, the Ontario rusher is going to have a clean rush towards a quarterback exchange. However, the flag guard occurs in the end zone, and you'll notice that the official throws the flag, hands in the air, safety, Ontario, and possession of the ball back on their own 5-yard line. All right, let's talk about jumping, adjusting to the ball in the air. If the ball is straight in the air and the player jumps vertically, a great play. However, if the ball is lateral or outside of the cylinder of the body, if there is no contact with the defender, clean play. If there is contact with the defender, it ends up being offensive roughing and penalty, next down, back 5 yards. Okay, time to grab your cheat sheets again. Take a look at the defensive penalties. If you can pause the video and just take a look at these, and then we'll cover them off with video clips in a moment. In this first clip, we're going to look at rusher offside. And if you look closely, the foot placement of the rusher is across the beanbag. So immediately as he moves forward and he crosses the line of scrimmage, the official throws the flag for rusher offside. We're now going to transition into roughing. And this is where it's important that the official emphasizes player safety. When there is contact on the field, you need to make a call, otherwise the game can get out of control. In this video clip between BC and its opponent, we'll see the player catch the ball and then get flipped. An example of roughing, penalty, BC. Here you see the correct form of flagging, player position to the side, reaching to grab the hips, but avoiding contact. The next infraction we want to look at is defensive pass interference. And the key with defensive pass interference is, did the defensive player, has he made an attempt to play the ball, to catch the ball? And it all has to do with his eyes and body position. It's important also to look at where contact is initiated, whether it's in the course of play or whether or not it's initiated by the player prior to the ball being in the air. We're going to look at a couple of video clips that demonstrate this. In this play between Manitoba and BC, the Manitoba quarterback drops back and throws a long vertical pass to the Manitoba receiver. In the play, you'll see the BC player initiating contact prior to the ball reaching the Manitoba receiver. Defensive pass interference, 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage, first down Manitoba. In this video clip back from the championship game between Ontario and BC, the BC player demonstrates defensive pass interference. As he's attempting to defend the receiver, he does not make an attempt to play the ball. He simply runs with his hand up, interfering with the offensive player's ability to catch the ball. Defensive pass interference, BC. In this final video clip featuring a game BC and Ontario, the Ontario player makes a long throw, but in this situation, the BC player has turned, he's making an attempt to play the ball, has possession, knockdown, clean play, no pass interference. Defensive flag diving. In this infraction, the onus is on the defensive player to remove the flag from the offensive player in a safe manner. If the defensive player, as he's pulling the flag, makes contact and risks injury with the offensive player, defensive flag diving is called. However, if the flag is pulled and there is no risk of injury to the offensive player, safe play, allowable contact. Illegal contact, holding. Again, nuanced. If the play is such that, and attempting to pull the flag, the shorts of the offensive player are grabbed, if there is no change in his forward momentum, it's considered in the course of play. However, if in the course of play, the offensive player's forward stride momentum is changed, altered, then it's considered offensive holding. Wherever the ball is spotted, it's moved 5 yards forward, first down, offense. Player conduct. One of the main themes within 5-on-5 flag football is sportsmanship, and any unsportsmanlike conduct must be stopped immediately. Inappropriate talk, trash talk, taunting, offensive language, discriminatory statements, official disputes that escalate to inappropriate levels are all considered unsportsmanlike conduct. A 15-yard penalty is assessed and the player risks ejection. This is up to the official to make the decision in terms of ejection or simply unsportsmanlike conduct. Okay, let's review. Special situations. Spinning, we reviewed that. Allowable as long as 1 foot is on the ground. Fumbles. In flag football, there are no fumbles. The ball is simply blown dead and is spotted at the last point of possession. Tip ball. I haven't had a chance to cover this in depth. Want to review. We talked about self-tip, reception, allowable. Now we want to talk about O to D, D to O tips, and O to O or D to D tips. If a tip ball occurs between the offensive players, the ball is considered a reception. However, the point of possession or the point of the spot is at the first tip. Similarly, in a defensive situation, if it's tipped and intercepted, it is considered an interception, but it is spotted at the first tip. And this comes back to rugby type situations where was the ball lateral, how long was the possession. To simplify the rule, we have initiated that in tip ball situations, same team, reception or interception has occurred, but it's spotted at the point of the tip. Now, O to D or D to O, both of those are receptions and the ball can be advanced. So offensive player tipping the ball, defensive player receiving it, interception, advance, or defensive player tipping the ball, offensive player receiving it, reception, and can be advanced. And lastly, talk about control the ball, and again, 1 foot inbound, the ball has stopped spinning, the player has possession and made an athletic move. In this clip, Team Nova Scotia versus BC, the ball is thrown up. The Nova Scotia receiver tips the ball and then catches the ball, reception Nova Scotia. In this video clip, Team BC in orange will intercept the ball, tipped by the offensive player, intercepted by the orange D player, interception and advanced to where his flag is pulled. In this video clip, Team Northwest Territory in the green stripes will throw the ball up, tipped by a BCD player in orange, reception by the Northwest Territory receiver in the end zone, touchdown Northwest Territories. In this video clip, we have a D-to-D tip, and the ball is intercepted. However, it's marked at the point of the tip ball, not where the reception is made and advanced. Great, so we've covered off infractions. Now let's talk about positioning and mechanics. Important that as you're working with your fellow official, that you position yourself appropriately at the beginning of each play. Important that each official is lined up on the sideline so you can verify players that are inbounds, out of bounds. One official is responsible for the line of scrimmage. The second official is responsible for the beanbag marker. On the screen at the bottom, we see the offensive official at the line of scrimmage, and he is positioned on the line of scrimmage at the sideline. His role is to ensure that there is not an offside or by either the O or the D player, and following the play, his field of view is at the quarterback, and he's looking for flag guards or to ensure that the 7-second rule and any exchanges are conducted appropriately. At the top of the screen, the second official is lined up with the beanbag. His role is to ensure that the rusher is lined up at or behind the beanbag. Once the play has been initiated, his field of focus is into the reception area, and he's looking for pass interference or offensive interference, any type of play. Other component of this is once the ball has been thrown or moving, it's important that the officials don't stay static, but move with the field of play, and ideally you want to be within 5 yards of the ball, of the flag being pulled, so you can make a correct call on any infraction or ensuring that play has conducted properly. There may be situations where there is only one official for the game. In that case, you want to align yourself in between the line of scrimmage and the 7-yard rush bag, and you can be slightly infield because you're responsible for both sidelines. It's possible to officiate a game with a single official. However, you need to be more proactive in your approach and movement in order to ensure that conduct is conducted safely. All right, we've covered a lot of information, and now we want to put together probably one of the most important components in a game of flag football. Because both teams are looking to win, and whenever an infraction is called, one party is going to be positive and one will be negative, it's important that you manage those situations appropriately. I want to cover this off. So the first thing you need to make sure that's happening is that you're in control. The second thing is in terms of having a strategy for managing control and also recognizing when conflict is occurring. And this can be in the form of body language, directed to opponents, to teammates, and to ensure that you are recognizing that and taking the appropriate steps forward on that. Skip to the next slide. You need to have a plan for preventing conflict. The best way to ensure that you don't have conflict is to have a clear understanding of the game. You want to have that cheat sheet in your pocket, you want to make sure that you have proper mechanics, and you want to make sure that you are exemplifying all the attitudes of an excellent official. Have a clear head, stay objective, don't take it personally if there's criticism, and decide what deserves a response. Sometimes a non-response can be the best response. Also, understand where you are in context of the game. Next slide. Implementing conflict management tips. Avoid threats, tell the truth. Tell the coach players what you see. Don't underestimate what's occurring. This is important for the players, coaches. They spend a lot of time preparing for this event. And point to a shared goal that you're looking first for player safety, and secondly that the game is conducted in a fair manner. And then look to ways to resolve conflict. Next slide. Penalties, and this comes back to unsportsmanlike conduct and making sure that we're recognizing taunts, trash language, contact, any contact in terms of initiating fight, physical, verbal abuse. We need to make sure that we're keeping the environment safe, and that if this is occurring, you take control indicate to the player that their conduct is unacceptable and they're removed from the game situation. 8, ejections. Now I hope this is never is part of your game, because flag football is fun, and if we're emphasizing sportsmanship and we're conducting ourselves in an appropriate way, the game should be a fantastic experience for all involved. However, because there is a situation where when you make a call, someone is going to be disadvantaged from that, there is a possibility of player, coach, spectator behaving in a way that endangers the safety of other participants. If it does come to a situation where you do need to eject a player, you want to ensure that the player knows that he has been removed from the game, that you've informed both coaches, and the player is physically removed from the field of play. Ejecting a coach is another different situation. If a coach is not able to keep himself in control and demonstrate sportsmanship within the context of the game, he needs to be removed. Now, once this coach has been removed, if there is not a second coach in place to ensure the safety of the players, the game is suspended and the game ends at that point. Ejecting a parent or spectator. If a spectator or parent becomes verbally or physically disruptive to play on field, first off, identify which team this individual is affiliated with, approach the coach and see if he can resolve the situation. If this is impossible, end play. Remember, when ejecting a player, coach, or parent, never jeopardize your safety or the safety of those at the field. You're responsible for the safety of all involved. If a situation is deteriorating, end the game and let cooler heads prevail. All right, this concludes the BC Community Football Association Spring Flag Football Officials video, and I want to thank you for watching it. Now, let's put this all together. One of the first things you need to do when I'm officiating, I need to make sure that I'm properly equipped. So that means I've got my whistle, I've got my bean bags for the line of scrimmage, 7-yard rush marker, infraction flag, pen and paper to figure out score. I want to have my cheat sheet of rules so that I have been able to reference them in case there's something that I'm not 100% with. And I want to make sure that I have a clean uniform and I look the part. And I'd recommend either we have the full pullover, or one, when the weather gets really hot, are these little referee pennies. These are fantastic. Second thing we want to make sure that's happening is that you get a chance to go and look at the playing surface. You understand where out of bounds are, the dimensions of the field, and you also want to look for any discrepancies in terms of surface, potholes, rocks, again, player safety. Then we want to make sure that we've taken a look at player uniforms. Do they have unaltered flags? Are they tucked into the side of the shorts? Can I see 2 inches? Are the players' cleats such that there's no metal showing if they're screw-in cleats? Do the shorts, the color of the shorts, are they of a different color than the flags? Does the player have a mouth guard? And if there is any jewelry, is it covered up with tape or removed? And lastly, no baseball caps, but you are allowed to have sweatbands, something in case it is warm to keep water out of the player's eyes. You want to meet with the teams. I recommend it at least 3 minutes before the start of each game. Introduce yourself. Hi, Coach Smith. Hi, I'm official. And introduce yourself to the coach. That goes a long way to establishing rapport and minimizing conflict during the course of the game. Start the game on time. If you're working in a large tournament, you'll hear the sound of the horn. You want to make sure you get the players, the captains out very quickly. Rock, paper, scissors to start the game, and look for a great experience. Apply the rules of the game as fairly as possible. And the other little part about that is you want to let the coaches know what you saw. Nobody will dispute you if you can have a rational explanation for why you did or did not make a particular call. Coach, I didn't see the flag guard. Coach, I saw the hand slap the flag of the ball carrier, therefore it was a flag guard. Coach, the defensive player did not make an attempt to play the ball, therefore pass interference. Most coaches, players will be satisfied with that. They just want to know that you're engaged in the course of play and amazing things are going to happen. You'll have a great experience. Be confident, move with the play, and be in control. As I reiterated, be communicative with all involved, and keep the game safe. Remember, it's about player safety, that they're learning how to play football in a safe environment. You're enabling youth to develop their football skills in a safe and controlled environment.